Hello friends, I just wanted to come back and make a brief video, something from the Real Pop book, Volume 1, Hal Leonard. Okay, Hal Leonard edition, Volume 1 of the Real Pop book. Of course, Bridge Over Troubled Water, Bridge Over Troubled Water, Paul Simon, classic, sung by Art Garfunkel, of course, the beautiful vocal performance. An E flat, 3 flats. Listen to this beautiful intro. Okay, we can just go through that real quick. Let me show you the intro here. Okay, E flat. Right? And then the melody here at the beginning. Okay, let's break that down. I'll see if I can maybe link to the description or link to the PDF or something like that. But here, once again, we're in E flat, 3 flats. Okay, and it's such a beautiful intro. All right, so what we have here, we'll start on the E flat, real easy, and the G is on the top here. If you can see, we have E flat, G, B flat, E flat, and the G melody way on top. Okay, so we have this real simple, and then switching to the B flat major. So you have that G, F on the top of the B flat, which just kind of makes it like a B flat 6 to the 5. 6 to the 5 of the B flat. All right, so you have, again, E flat. A flat. The A flat with the E flat on top. And then you have this beautiful thing right here. It's a D diminished with the A flat on the bottom. That is A flat in the bass note here, right below middle C. And then on the top, we have an F, like Frank, and a D, like David, on top here. So it's just 3 notes, very sparse sound, like a sort of a shell chord, if you will, right? So the A flat in the bass goes up a half step to the A, right? And the top notes, your F like Frank, F and D. Your F goes to F sharp, your D comes down to C. And again, the bass is up, goes up a half step. So you have this D diminished. You can even say A flat diminished. A flat diminished to an A diminished. So if I played the full diminished here, you can see A flat in the bottom, and I'll play F, A flat, B, D. And I'll play an A diminished here. And then you have an E flat over a B flat. So E flat over its 5. That's a C to a B flat on top. That gives you that sort of that tension, right? That suspension, that tension with the E flat over B flat. And then C sus. And then so C, F, G, and B flat on top. And then resolve the F to the E. Right? C sus to a C dominant 7. And then A flat. And then A flat 6. Beautiful, right? Resolve to E flat. All right, so again, that 4th bar is A flat. And then C, E flat. And then your melody goes to the F, and then you have this A flat minor, 6. A flat, B, E flat, F. A flat minor 6. Right, so again, the A flat, up to the G, back to E flat. So again, from the top, E flat, B flat, A flat, A flat diminished, A diminished, E flat over B flat. Now a C dominant sus, or C7 sus. Resolve to the C dominant 7. A flat, the 4 chord. A flat minor 6. E flat dominant 7. And then there's that A flat over G flat. A flat over E flat. Again, that tension building up. And then it goes into the melody. When you're weary. Now here's this, before you get to when you're weary, listen to that again. E flat. And I'm just voicing it like this. E flat on the bottom, and then a G, a B flat, and then your E flat, the root of the chord on top. Right? And then I'm just playing a D flat, D like David, and E flat on the top to make it a E flat dominant 7. Right? You hear that? Leading it to the 4 chord, right? E flat to A flat. We're leading to the 4 chord, right? Again. E flat. You see that D flat and E flat on top? D flat, D like that, David. Leading, that sound that leads to it. So there's your A flat over E flat. And then you have this lick here. Love that. That's an A flat. That's C, E flat on top. It's basically an A flat chord, right? So you have there's your A flat triad, for example. A flat, C, and E flat. But you start with a C, E flat on top there, right? With your 3rd finger and pinky. And then the 2nd finger, index finger, falls down on the A flat, right? C, E flat, falling onto the A flat. And then your thumb on the E flat, right? Cross over with your 2nd finger, your index, to the C, and then your thumb to the A flat. So it's basically an A flat chord there, right? If you break that down. So here's your A flat on the left, A flat, C, E flat, and then again on the top, A flat, C, E, A flat, C, E flat. But again, starting with the 3rd finger and the 5th finger, right? The middle finger and pinky on top. It's just an A flat played twice. 2 A flat triads, right? So again, from the E flat to 1 chord to the 4 chord. E flat, 4 chord. That's beautiful. Here, a little bluesy feel. Coming off the E flat, a little grace note to the G. So again, once again, the intro. Like I said, intro again. E flat, 1 chord to the 5 chord, B flat. That G, F on the top, I play it like an octave. And then A flat. Your E flat, your E flat is on the top. And then you have A flat diminished, A diminished, E flat over B flat, 1 over the 5. C suspended 7. Resolve it to the E. The F goes down to the E to resolve the C dominant, the C suspended 7 to a C dominant. 4 chord, 4 minor, Okay? Once again, let me see if I could pull the PDF up and link it in the description. Thanks once again. Have a great day. God bless everybody.